There's always going to be a million things that you could improve about yourself. Like being a human literally comes with patch notes. There's always some habit, some pattern, some part of you that wants to change or be explored more. But here's what I want you to sit with me for a second. When I say keep being you, I'm not saying stay stuck, never grow. I'm saying being you. Being you isn't something you have to unlock. You're already doing it. Keep being you already assumes you are you right now. A lot of us on this constant quest to find ourselves, right? Find our purpose, find our answers, find our path, find our end game. But low key, the answer is already here. Half the time, it's not that you're missing some deep truth. It's that you keep questioning yourself so much that you drown out what's already there. You convince yourself you haven't arrived anywhere, so you act like you have to chase something you're already standing in. You show up in pretty much everything you do. How you laugh, how you love, how you get mad, how you daydream, how you cope with stuff, how you play video games, how you avoid things, how you keep trying. You're not some locked character you haven't selected yet. You're here. And I don't even want you to think that this video is the basic be yourself poster on YouTube. That's like the be yourself poster on a classroom wall. No, it's not the same. To me, this is more about taking care of yourself than finding yourself. Because I really think we are in a time of intense change. Everything is shifting so drastically that people can't adjust too fast. The world feels weird. Everyone's overwhelmed. The way we see ourselves is shifting. And as dramatic as it sounds, this might be one of the best times to actually invest in you. Not in some grind set way, but in let me actually understand and care for who I am kind of way. When you give yourself any kind of honest understanding, any stability in how you see yourself, you slowly pull yourself out of the mental rut that you circle yourself with. You stop constantly telling yourself, I'm not enough yet, I'm not ready yet, I'm not there yet. You are enough for you. I'm telling you now. You are enough for you. Right now. Not when you fix 5 more things. Or how many you want to fix. You might feel like, I need to fix this, stop doing this, heal this, achieve that. Then I can give myself rest, love, or respect. But that's not how it works. Humans are not machines, unfortunately. We are organisms. And all organisms require rest. And that rest is not just only physical, it's often also mind. But luckily for us, mind requires way less rest than you might think. But for you, it's just all of the thoughts about I need to fix this, stop doing that. It's not reality, it's not law of your life. It's just your brain creating rules for yourself. Something that it tells you, oh, I need to follow. A lot of us get buried under our own thoughts about ourselves. We trap ourselves with self-made restrictions because we genuinely believe we have to earn every good thing we experience. But if you look back on your life, there are so many negative things you went through that you did not earn. Stuff just landed on you. Pain you didn't ask for. Situations you didn't choose. So why do you suddenly believe you need the perfect resume to deserve anything good? The same way you were open, knowingly or not, to bad experiences, you can also open yourself to more positivity, more softness, presence, more love, more light. You are allowed to let those in too. And a big part of that is not letting your thoughts be the distractor of your life. I was literally journaling about this recently, how when we try to talk to ourselves, we always feel like we have to use words. We try to explain ourselves to ourselves. But you already feel what you feel. You are as you are before you describe it. Introspection is useful, don't get me wrong, but when it comes to giving yourself actual peace, it's less about the story in your head and more about the feeling you allow yourself to rest in. The feeling you inspire in yourself, the feeling you give yourself permission to feel. The calm, the love, the safety. That's not in a sentence, it's the experience itself. I genuinely think there's a lot of real around us. We can have real awareness, feel of this, the actual feeling of being alive. The consciousness of it doesn't actually need words. You just feel it. You don't have to speak it out. You don't have to think about it. And when you stop trying to squeeze who you are into language, you start seeing how limited words have always been. If you never learned a single word, you'd still exist. You'd still feel like you. So, who you truly are is, most of the time, is undefined, or at best only partly definable. We will always be limited by the words we have for ourselves. Our name, what other people tell us, because everybody says, oh, you have the closest 5 people around you, usually your best friends, and a lot of people say it's bullshit. No, it's not really. People that surround you is who you want to be as in your deep subconscious. But that's a different story. That's why I think one of the most intimate things you can do is just exist without needing to narrate everything. Even in romance or friendships, the intimacy isn't in the perfect sentence. It's in the feeling of being there with someone. That quiet, safe, I don't need to perform around you feeling. If you bring the same energy into your everyday life, that intimacy with your own actions, your own routines, your own body, your own presence, your whole life starts to feel different. I've noticed that the more that I am present with what I'm actually doing at the moment, the better I feel. Even though sometimes it's just stressful because life is, you get over it. You just say that it is meant to happen, or this is my fault, I will have to fix it. And it gets you on a more, like a state of being calm and keep going, not to stop and overthink about it. You know what I mean? If you bring that same energy, you let your actions create a feeling inside you, instead of living only in your head about them. And when you live life, and life is moved by that feeling, not controlled by fear or overthinking, but moved by a kind of gentle closeness with yourself, even simple things feel richer. Being yourself was never supposed to be a stressful job. Same with self-improvement and self-discovery. Those things should feel like some of the most freeing feelings, liberating experiences you can have, not a punishment. And you can give that to yourself the moment you decide to. For me, that looks like giving yourself a real shot. So when you notice you're in a negative loop, doing the same cycles you've always done, you pause and remember, you don't have to act based purely on an old feeling or an old story. You don't have to let your past or your emotions autopilot your next move. I'm all about getting more in touch with your feelings, but your feelings don't have to drive the car every time. You perceive your thoughts. You perceive your feelings. So you can't just be those things. They're part of you, but sure, not the whole you. The more you let yourself be someone beyond just, oh, what I'm thinking or what I'm feeling right now, the more comfort you find in this life. Because let's be real, there's so many, I think, like unseen forces. It's other people, how nature works, what your cycle will be if you're a man or a woman. Everything, all these unseen forces are shaping how life goes for you, and for other people, the same way. We don't see everything, we don't control everything. Once you accept that there's a lot already unseen, it becomes easier to accept that the most important parts of you can be unseen too, and still be valid. Your worth doesn't need an audience. You never had to compare yourself to others to deserve your own love. You never had to measure your value by someone else's story, status, or timeline. That doesn't mean you sit around and never do anything, of course not. We live in a world where you do have to put in effort, take action, make some inputs. But I really believe there's no real fulfilling output in life unless we're doing it in front of a place that honors who we are inside. If you don't go within, you go without. That line sticks with me. Because I know in my own life, I've tried to understand myself using only words, only thoughts, only mental loops. I haven't always let myself fully drop into the moment, just be there without anything analyzing it. And honestly, understanding is sometimes just a feeling. You feel that something is right or real or true for you, even before you've got a perfect sentence for it. So if we stop basing all of our intelligence, all of our love, all of our contentment on what we can say out loud, we free ourselves up. We get to be more ourselves with more peace, because it doesn't have to mean anything special, it just is. Letting yourself go, not a reckless way, but and I'm not going to grip my identity so tightly to this what I'm thinking or what my past has been way. That's something that I think about a lot. Because there's a point in my life where I kind of dropped everything in that sense. Not my responsibilities, not my care for people all my life, but my tight grip on whom I thought I had to become. The moment I loosened that grip on myself, I could actually experience what my life wants itself to be. What's the feeling of me, of how I want it to be, instead of how I thought I was supposed to be. And once you taste that, you don't really want to go back to letting all thoughts run the whole show. When we keep referencing our past constantly, all the things we've been through, all the identities we've worn, we accidentally trap ourselves in them. We limit how we can express ourselves now. We choke out the new ways of being. We make life feel flat and repetitive all the time, even when it doesn't have to be. Most of us run on routines, and that's not automatically bad. I don't mean that. You don't have to blow up your whole life, but at the very least, you should have you in mind when you decide how you live it. When you catch yourself thinking something like harsh or negative, then ask yourself, is this actually helping me? Does this lead anywhere good? Yeah, you won't be able to do it every time because sometimes it just gets too overwhelming because life is. But it's good that you at least can step back, because if you don't step back, life will pass you. When you catch yourself thinking something that harsh, it's better that you always stop and think, oh, is this any good for me? Does this have led me to a worse living because I overthink and think negative thoughts instead of staying positive? I've caught myself in arguments and little debates where I had to stop and ask, do I really need to say something here? Or am I just trying to prove my feelings are valid by forcing someone else to adopt them? I get into the trap often still to this day, but I'm trying to work on it. We get so stuck on, if I feel this way, everyone else has to understand it, agree with me, respect it. And yeah, it's nice when people do, but what the world doesn't give you, you have to learn to give to yourself. You don't need a specific reaction from anyone else to feel content in who you are, or solid in your own perspective. That doesn't mean you walk around thinking you're never wrong. You can still be open to being wrong, still learn, still grow, but you don't have to abandon yourself every time someone doesn't get you. There's a certain honesty needed in all of this: awareness, consciousness, self-help, self-discovery, or it just turns into performance. That honestly looks like being real about how you acted, being real about how you treated yourself, and being real enough to stop doing what keeps limiting you. One of the biggest things that limits us is depending on other people, on other people's perspectives to define us. And when I say other perspectives, I don't mean you can't listen to different ideas. I mean basing your entire identity on how others see you. I know personally, one of the hardest things for me has been defining myself for me. We grow up being told who to be, what's acceptable, what's cringe, what's good. We're basically programmed. That's the best word for it. We get handed a script, and until you realize you're reading lines you didn't write, you can't really choose your own. The second you open yourself up to having an actual choice, oh wait, do I want to be this way? You unlock way more understanding, way more opportunities, way more space to explore yourself and your world. I think a lot of us genuinely need to re-regulate our entire system, nervous system, awareness, consciousness, so we can actually go to do the things that we want, that we say we want. Because when I say programs, I mean there are certain things that make us feel a certain way, because we believe they should make us feel that way. We've got addictions, patterns, habits, me included. That's we try to break, that I've tried to break, that you maybe try to break. We have relapsed on, overcome, struggled with, anything. And a big part of healing is realizing there are other ways to feel joy, peace, and contentment that doesn't rely on the old thing you've always clung to. You never truly needed to depend on that one thing to feel okay. The idea that you had to do is just another thought that has been chaining you instead of letting you live. We live in the world of ideas and thoughts, ours and everyone else's, right? And until you give yourself permission to imagine a different way of being, you'll keep living in the version of you that doesn't really fit anymore. That doesn't mean you have to become hyper ego or obsessed with yourself, or be like, oh, I'm this and that. It just means that, at the minimum, be open to new ways of being you. Accept that you don't fully know yourself yet. And that's not scary, that's kind of beautiful. When you embrace that there are unknown parts of you, it actually becomes easier to accept the unknown parts of life. The world doesn't have to show you everything at once. It show you what you need, when you need it. A lot of the time we think, oh, we need something just because we're comparing ourselves to other people, other lives, other timelines. Because you look at people on social media, for example, and you look at their chapter 20, but you are your chapter 2 or something, chapter 3. They're way ahead at that specific endeavor that you want to be at that level. I mean, they're higher in that specific way, and they're trying to show it off, but that's their highlight. Like, they might have spent months, years, or even decades working on that specific thing that you see for that specific moment in front of you, because they wanted to show off their best achievements. Because nobody really wants to, on social media, to show off their daily work ethic, because it's not beautiful, it's hard, it's dirty, it's how it's supposed to be, really. And yeah, there's goals, steps, actions that generally help us move forward. I'm not denying that, but if you believe everything you need is always external, always out there, always later, always in someone else's hands, you limit yourself. You can't create. If you can't create things internally first, like ways of feeling, ways of thinking, ways of showing up, and don't let that slowly manifest into your external life, unfortunately you will suffer. You're already shaping the life you live now, even if you don't realize it. When you keep having the same feeling, you tend to have the same experience. And a lot of people oh, my life, like they believe and they say, oh, my life is the same, so I feel the same. But honestly, it's often the other way around. We feel the same, so our life seems the same. I've noticed in my own life, whenever I manage to spark more genuine positivity, love, intimacy, with the life I'm already living, my experience changes. Not in that, oh, I woke up a rich way. I woke up in a Bugatti. But in how I see everything. The circumstances might not flip instantly, but my perspective does. And that creates more gratitude, more softness, more possibility in the same exact life. And that's valuable to you too. So if you let it be, you will have it. So when I say keep being you, I'm also saying you can't actually be lost on the journey with yourself. You are the path you're walking. You can't be ahead or behind where you need to be, because where you need to be is always where you are. That's literally the only place you can exist. The point isn't, oh, don't chase goals or don't improve. You have to do that. You have to grow, build, change. Just don't forget, you are more than the things you do and achieve. You are the person doing them. And until you learn to affirm that person, the one that walks the path of every day, the path itself is never going to feel like enough. So keep being you. And let that actually mean something gentle, not something stressful. Thank you, and see you soon.